Anadikarma Pale from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Śrīmad Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Śrīmad Bhakti Vedanta Swami iti namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschadhyadi Shatarine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschadhyadi Shatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Anadikarma Pale Bodhi Bhavana Vachale Tori Barena Dekhi Upai Anadikarma Pale Bodhi Bhavana Vachale Tori Barena Dekhi Upai E Vishaya Hala Hale Divanishi Hiya Jvale Manakabu Shuka Nahi Pai E Vishaya Hala Hale Divanishi Hiya Jvale Manakabu Shuka Nahi Pai Anadikarma Pale Bodhi Bhavana Vachale Tori Barena Dekhi Upai Anadikarma Pale Bodhi Bhavana Vachale Tori Barena Dekhi Upai Asha Pasha Shata Shata Klesha Dehe Avirata Pavriti Umira Kahekela Asha Pasha Shata Shata Klesha De Apirata Pavriti Umira Tahekela Kama Krota Adichay Bada Bada Dea Boy Avashane Hoila Shoe Bela Kama Krota Adichay Bada Bada Dea Boy Avashane Hoila Shibela Anadikarma Pale Bodhi Bhavana Vachale Tori Barena Dekhi Upai Anadikarma Pale Bodhi Bhavana Vachale Tori Barena Dekhi Upai Chana Karma Tagadui Mora Pratariya Loi Avasheshe Bhele Sindhu Chale Chana Karma Tagadui Mora Pratariya Loi Avasheshe Bhele Sindhu Chale He no Samaye Bandhu Tuma Krishna Kripa Sindhu Kripa Kori Toro More Bale no Samaya Bandhu Tuma Krishna Kripa Sindhu Kripa kori dholo more bale anadi karma phale Bodhi pavana vachale Thori bare na dekhi upay anadi karma phale Bodhi pavana vachale Thori bare na dekhi upay Patita king koridori Pada padma duli kori Deho bhakti vinoda ashroy Padita king koridori Pada padma duli kori Deho bhakti vinoda ashroy Amitabha nityadas Buliya mayara pash Bada hoye ajido yamoy Amitabha nityadas Buliya mayara pash Bada hoye ajido yamoy Anadi karma phale Bodhi pavana vachale Thori bare na dekhi upay Anadi karma phale Bodhi pavana vachale Thori bare na dekhi upay Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jai Gurudev Jai Gurudev Jai Gurudev Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prema Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktarinda ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Shri Giri Govardhan ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Shri Navadvip Maya Bodham ki Jai Ganga Maya Muna Maya ki Jai Tulasi Devi Tulasi Maharani ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktarinda ki Jai Gaura Premanandi All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to all the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. That was Anadi Karamapale. And we want to welcome Amit. Welcome back. Very nice to see you here tonight. Amrita Radhe Mataji, Ben, very nice to see you, Chayanti Bhai Prakash, and Varshana Mataji. Hare Krishna, thank you for being there and being with us tonight. Hare Krishna. So, translation. Who can give us a read? Ben, you want to give us a read of the translation? That would be great.
I can do so, Prabhu.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
I have fallen into the ocean of material existence as a result of my selfish activities, which are without beginning, and I see no means of deliverance from this great ocean of nuisance. Day and night, my heart burns from the poison of these worldly activities, and on account of this, my mind never finds any satisfaction or happiness.
Go on.
Hundreds and thousands of desires, like nooses around my neck, constantly give me misery and trouble. In that great ocean of nescience play the waves of materialistic tendency. In this world, there are many thieves and rogues, of whom 6 are prominent: lust, anger, greed, illusion, and madness. They are causing me great fear, and in this way, my life is coming to an end. The 2 highway robbers, mental speculation and fruitive activity, have cheated me and misled me. And finally, they are throwing me into the ocean of misery. At such a time as this, my dear Krishna, you are the only friend, and you are the ocean of mercy and compassion. I have no strength to get out of this ocean of nescience. So I pray to your lotus feet that you will be kind and by your strength uplift me from this ocean of suffering. Accept this fallen servant and fix me as a particle of dust on your lotus feet. Kindly give me shelter to this Bhakti Vinod. O most merciful Lord, actually I am your eternal servant, but having forgotten this, I have become bound up in the network of Maya.
Hare Krishna, isn't that a beautiful, beautiful song by Bhakti Vinod Thakur? Huh? And we're hearing so many informative lessons here. Anyone has any question? I mean, it's quite clear. We are in this ocean of nescience or nescience, and we are struggling very much. And without Krishna's mercy and without the association of devotees, how can we ever get out of this ocean of misery? There is a beautiful verse which explains Samashrita ye pada palavablavam mahat padam punyam yasho murare pavambudi vatsam param padam param padam navipadam tesham. Little muddled up in the end, which means this material ocean it's very difficult to overcome. There is danger at every step, danger everywhere. We see that. If we look around, there's danger everywhere. Something is happening all the time. There is ambulances going forth and back all the time. So there is danger. So many people are in trouble. So much danger. And we think it is not affecting us. But those who have taken shelter of the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, that ocean shrinks just like the water contained in a calf's footprint. Now it is easily to step over that water in a calf's footprint, but if we are in the ocean of material nescience or nescience, then that in the ocean is huge, and we have absolutely no hope. So that is that beautiful verse. Hare Krishna. Anyone has a question to any of the shlokas of this beautiful song? Or wants to add something? Anyone wants to add something? Some explanation? If not, we have a wonderful turnout tonight, and thank you all for coming. The association of Vaishnavas is ever so important, and everyone who is here tonight, obviously, he has realized that. And the Bhagavatam is also explaining Sarvapadi Vinirmuktam, and is explaining also the supreme dharma of all humanity is that which helps us to get to the devotional service of the Lord. Param Brahma Param Dhamma Pavitram Pavam Bhavan. So that supreme dharma that needs to be executed, means Krishna consciousness. That is the supreme dharma, devotional service. It needs to be unmotivated. No material motivation. No little bit of karma or gyan mixed in her, but pure bhakti. It needs to be not only unmotivated, it needs to be uninterrupted. Not on and off and on and off. So that is ever so important. And then, what is the result? That will completely satisfy the self. And we spoke last time on Wednesday, I think it was, the self, of course, that's we. Not that I have a soul, but I am the soul and I have a body. Not I am the body and I have a soul and I have a car and I have a house and I have a husband and I have a wife. No, I am the soul and I have a body. Human body this time around. So that regularity, yes, the devotee is coming regularly to these beautiful sessions on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And anyone who is regularly hearing in the association of devotees, there is no question of making progress. There's absolutely no question of spiritual progress. Hare Krishna. Let's go to our Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and we have the shloka number 4 tonight. Let's find that shloka. Maybe you find it already. Shloka number 4. 112.4. That is what we... The chapter is entitled Birth of Emperor Parikshit, and I'll put the link. You probably have that link still from last time. We just go a little bit further. And here I put it anyway. I put it in the chat. 112.4. So, who can give it a start? Who can give it a start? Amit, why don't you give it a start? Give us a reading of text 4. How is that? Would that be okay, Amit, with you?
Yeah, Prabhu, that's fine. Hare Krishna, everybody. Okay.
We can hear you very nice. Good audio. Thank you.
Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. You want me to read the Sanskrit as well?
Yes, if you don't mind. If it's going badly wrong, I help Sanskrit. You along.
Okay. Sutta yu vaka.
Vacha.
Appalad Dharma Raja. Pitravat Ranjayan Praja. Nishpra Sarve Karme Baya. Krishna Pada Nesavaya.
Translation.
Sri Suta Goswami said, Emperor Yudhishthira administered generously to everyone during his reign. He was exactly like his father. He had no personal ambition and was freed from all sorts of sense gratification because of his continuous service unto the lotus feet of the Lord Sri Krishna.
Before you start with the purport, we're hearing here he was exactly like his father. Who was his father? Who is Maharaj Yudhishthira's father? That's the question.
King Pandu.
Yes. No, sorry. Maharaj Yudhishthira's father is not Pandu.
Abhimanyu Prabhuji.
Oh.
Abhimanyu, no.
Dharmaraj? Prabhu?
Dharmaraj, Yamaraj, yes. Because Pandu couldn't conceive children because of the curse. If he would approach his wife, or two wives, Matri or Kunti, then he would immediately die. So when he heard this curse, he went to the forest, retreated, he gave up the kingdom. What's the point? A king without offspring. And so in the forest, the curse came about by him. Anyone knows? How did the curse come about? He killed, yes. Kings, Kshatriya kings were allowed to hunt. Why? Only Kshatriyas, not the Brahmins and not the Vaishyas and not the Shudras, because they had to exercise their skills in battle. How is they going to practice their battlefield skills? They have to either make a war and practice, or they have to hunt. And these kings, they were not unusual, they were fighting with a tiger, just with a dagger, hand by hand. So just to show their strength and bravery and so on. So he was seeing 2 deer, and the deer were engaged in love play. And that hunting spirit overcame him, and he shot his arrow and killed the deer, both of them. And while the arrows hit the target, the deer suddenly took on a human form. And it was a rishi and his wife. And they had taken on the body of a deer in order to unrestricted loving affairs. We can only imagine what this means. We don't have to spell it out. And so in the human form, that is not so easily possible. There's so many regulations. But in the animal kingdom, sex life can be had anywhere. In the forest, he is there anywhere. So they took on this form, and it is an absolute offense to kill an animal while engaged in love play. That is, it's cruel. It's cruel. Afterwards, maybe, yes. But so that rishi said, for that I'll curse you. If you approach your wife, you will also die. So that was a curse. And Pandu was very conscious of that curse. And so he left the kingdom. Otherwise, there would have been, if Pandu would have stayed the king in Hastinapur, then there would have been no questions that Maharaj Yudhishthira would be the rightful king. There was no, the children were small, so they would have been raised, and there would have been the proper inheritance of the kingdom. Welcome, Rashmi Mataji. So that curse, and then there was no offspring, and then one day Kunti told Pandu, actually, because he desired some progeny, actually I get a boon. I can call the demigods, and you can have a son from whatever devas you call. So he called the different devas. He called Surya, and Radheya was born, Karna. He called Dharmaraj, and Yudhishthira was born. He called Lord Indra, and Arjuna was born. And he called the Ashwini twins, and Sakula and Sahadev were born. So, the father of Yudhishthira is Dharmaraj or Yamaraj. And that was revealed at the lake. We know all this story, and I'll touch on it because we have a short quiz. Maybe I shouldn't. We should know that story. What is the most wonderful thing in the world? And I don't say anything more. So, okay. Amit Purport.
As mentioned in our introduction, There is a need for the science of Krishna in human society for all the suffering humanity of the world, and we simply request the leading personalities of all nations to take to the science of Krishna for their own good, for the good of society, and for the good of all the people of the world. So it is confirmed herein by the example of Maharaja Yudhishthira, the personality of goodness. In India, the people hanker after the Rama Raja because the personality of Godhead was the ideal king, and all other kings or emperors in India controlled the destiny of the world for the prosperity of every living being who took birth on the earth. Herein the word Raja is significant. The etymological import of the word is that which is born. On the earth there are many species of life, from the aquatics up to the perfect human beings, and all are known as Rajas. Lord Brahma, the creator of this particular universe, is known as Prajapati, because he is the grandfather of all who have taken birth. Thus, Praja is used in a broader sense than it is now used. The king represents all living beings, the aquatics, plants, trees, reptiles, birds, animals, and man. Every one of them is a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And the king, being the representative of the Supreme Lord, is duty-bound to give proper protection to every one of them.
So may I stop you here, Amit? There is a Bhagavad Gita verse mentioned here, 14:4. Can we all click on that and see what that Bhagavad Gita reference? Every one of them is part and parcel of the Lord. So we click on the link and we're getting the verse. Can you read the translation and the very short purport?
Sorry,
Very famous verse.
Where is the link?
It's in red. It says Bhagavad Gita in brackets.
I see, right, okay.
Sarva yonishu kandhaya murtaya sambhavantiya dhasham brahma mahadyonir aham bicha pradapita.
Okay. Translation. It should be understood that all species of the life of Sanakunti are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving Father. In this verse, it is clearly explained that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the original Father of all living entities. The living entities are a combination of material nature and the spiritual nature. Such living entities are seen not only on this planet, but on every planet, even in the highest where Brahma is situated. Everywhere there are living entities. Within the earth, and there are living entities, even within water and even within fire. All these appearances are due to the mother, material nature, and Krishna's seed-giving process. The purport is that the material world is impregnated with living entities, which comes out in the various forms at the time of creation according to their past deeds.
Question arises. How does, material nature is like the mother, and Krishna gives a seed like the father. How, and the seed is all the living entities, they're impregnated into material nature. How does Krishna do it? Who can say? Anyone? How does Krishna do it? How does Krishna impregnate material nature? Vaishana Mataji. Rashmi Mataji. Nobody? Krishna does not give children in the way we are doing. How does he do? Ben. Mataji. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, as I understand it, it's if you go to the Mahavishnus and the Vishnus, it's Krishna impregnates the material energy by his glance.
Very well. Exactly. Just by looking. Because Krishna's senses are interchangeable. So some foolish people, they think Krishna is just like we, just because he comes in a human-like form. But Krishna is not like we. We cannot impregnate, okay, we go to our wife, I'm just looking at you and you will have a child. It doesn't work here like that. But Krishna can do that. Krishna can eat with his eyes. Krishna can impregnate material nature just by glancing over her. Krishna can eat also through his ears by hearing the prayers of offering. So beautiful. That is Krishna. Back to that verse, what you want to do now is going on your browser, one back, and we be back into the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And we stopped after that Bhagavad Gita reference, and I would like to, someone else maybe, because a long purport, Rashmi Mataji, can you read on from where Amit stopped?
Prabhuji, can I do the next one? So, because I'll get
Yes,
into
you can.
the
Yes, you can. So, Vaishana Mataji, can you read on from where Amit stopped in the Bhagavatam? How is that? Can you hear me, Vaishana Mataji?
Yes, I think you're supposed to unmute because otherwise we're going back and forth, right, Prabhu?
Yes, you go back to the page of the Bhagavatam, just one step back.
Yeah, hang on.
Yes, you have to go forth and back from Sumer.
Right, okay.
This is not the case.
Which paragraph is this?
After that red link in the first paragraph,
Yes.
it's all one paragraph. There's only one paragraph. After that red link.
After the 1414, right?
Yes, and it says the next sentence. This is not the case. There we start.
Right, okay. Hare Krishna, everyone. This is not the case with the presidents and dictators of this demoralized system of administration, where the lower animals are given no protection, while the higher animals are given so-called protection. But this is a great science which can be learned only by one who knows the science of Krishna. By knowing the science of Krishna, one can become the most perfect man in the world. And unless one has knowledge in this science, all qualifications and doctorate diplomas acquired by academic education are spoiled and useless. Maharaj Yudhishthira knew this science of Krishna very well, for it is stated here that by continuous cultivation of this science, or by continuous devotional service to Lord Krishna, he acquired the qualification of administering the state. The father is sometimes seemingly cruel to the son, but that does not mean that the father has lost the qualification to be a father. A father is always a father because he always has the good of the son at heart. The father wants every one of his sons to become a better man than himself. Therefore, a king like Maharaj Yudhishthira, who has the personality of goodness, wanted everyone under his administration, especially human beings who have better developed consciousness, to become devotees of Lord Krishna, so that everyone can become free from the trifles of material existence. His motto of administration was all good for the citizens. As for personified goodness, he knew perfectly well what is actually good for them. He conducted the administration on that principle and not on the Rakshasi, demonic principle of sense gratification. As an ideal king, he had no personal ambition, and there was no place for sense gratification because all his senses at all times were engaged in the loving service of the Supreme Lord, which includes the partial service to the living beings who form the parts and parcels of the complete whole. Those who are busy rendering service to the parts and parcels, leaving aside the whole, only spoil time and energy, as one does when watering the leaves of a tree without watering the roots. The water is poured on the root, the leaves are enlivened perfectly and automatically. But if water is poured on the leaves only, the whole energy is spoilt. Maharaj Yudhishthira, therefore, was constantly engaged in the service of the Lord, and thus the parts and parcels of the Lord, the living beings, under his careful administration, were perfectly attended with all comforts in this life and all progress in the next. That is the way of perfect management of state administration.
Beautiful, beautiful purport. What is the gist of it, Vashana Mataji? What would you say? What's the gist of this purport?
I'm not sure exactly, but it talks a lot about how Yudhishthira Maharaj saw the administration and how he was administering the Rajya, basically, the policies, and how he protected the his praja, or the people in it, basically. He explains about the tree where you sort of, I think, pour water on the roots and it covers everything. Something like that. I'm not too.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you. Yes, people want Ram Raj. But if we compare what we're reading here, that Maharaj, who was the emperor of the world, of the entire planet Earth, and that was only 5,000 years ago. So how he ruled, and in comparison, how so-called democracies today are ruled. What's the difference? Who can say? What's the difference between, 5,000 years is not such a long time, 5,000 years. 50 generations.
Well, for Yudhishthira, it was always religion and truthfulness, which he used. And as a person, he was known as being truthful.
Well, what was the aim of his government? There's a hand up. Yes, one moment. Amrita Radhi, yes, put your hands up. That's nice. That's very nice. So I'll take everybody who has his hands up in turns. Okay, Amrita Radhi Mataji, you want to explain what's the difference? What was the aim of Yudhishthira Maharaj and what is the aim of the political leaders today?
Prabhuji, I found 2 points here. How Yudhishthira Maharaj's ruling style is different from what we see today. One is that a king is supposed to take care of all living entities. Democracies today focus only on the humankind, and they kind of ignore the well-being of other species. So that is one very interesting point that I found in this purport. Another thing is that Yudhishthira Maharaj was a pure devotee. So he was engaging all his senses in serving Krishna. So here Prabhupada explains that if Krishna is pleased, then all his part and parcels, meaning all other, will be happy, and they'll be happy and they'll progress.
Thank you. Beautiful. I would take that even one step further. Not only Yudhishthira was a pure devotee and he engaged all his senses in the service of the Lord and he was fully Krishna conscious, but he also conducted his administration in such a way that all the citizens were spiritually progressing. If it would be today, Maharaj Yudhishthira, if there would be a government like Maharaj Yudhishthira, the government would advertise and actively sponsor that people meet together discussing and reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam like we do here. So that would be an active part of citizenship. There would be time set aside that citizens are educated in the values of spiritual life. So, but today the aim is sense gratification. Of modern societies, the aim is economic development over everything else. I think, Amit, you like this purport of the Bhagavatam because the first point which Amrita Radha Mataji so nicely highlighted is that every living entity is Bracha. Lord Brahma is Brachapati. So every living entity is Bracha. Every living entity is protected by the king, not just the human beings like today, and the animals are slaughtered in slaughterhouses. So I'm sure you can very much identify with that. So spiritual government like Maharaj Yudhishthira or Krishna conscious government would immediately close down the slaughterhouses and would protect the animals also. Every living entity, not only those who have a blue passport like in this country, but also those animals who have no passport, they're equally protected because they're also Bracha, and Bracha means those born in the kingdom, in the particular, under a particular country, government. They're all Brachas, they're all worthy of protection. Anyone wants to add anything to that? Are there any other points which needs? Prakash, you have to go. Thank you for being here, at least for some time. Have a wonderful rest tonight, and we'll see you again. Hare Krishna. So, anything else to be said to this beautiful purport? And Vaishnava Mataji, she highlighted, and Srila Prabhupada speaks, of course, about it, that not only watering the leaves, you may also water the leaves of the tree, but if you forget to water the roots, then that's useless endeavor. Anything else? If not, we move on, and I would like Rashmi Mataji to read us the next verse, which is text 5.
So, chapter 12, text 5, Prabhuji, correct?
Text 5, yes, please. Welcome, Shushila Ben.
Text 5. Sampada kratavo loka mahise vitaro mahi jambudvi padipatyam cha yasascha tridivam gatam. Translation. News even reached the celestial planets about Maharaj Yudhishthir's worldly possessions. Prabhuji, just a minute. I'm moving to
There is a lot of background noise. Krishna is doing some big clean out or something.
No, I was in the kitchen. Sorry about that. I'll start again.
We can hardly hear you. Yes.
News even reached the celestial planets about Maharaj Yudhishthir's worldly possessions, the sacrifices by which he would attain a better destination. His queen, his stalwart brothers, his extensive land, his sovereignty over the planet Earth, and his fame, etc. But only a rich and great man's name and fame are known all over the world, and the name and fame of Maharaj Yudhishthir reached the higher planets because of his good administration, worldly possessions, glorious wife Draupadi, the strength of his brothers Bhim and Arjun, and his solid sovereign power over the world known as Jambudvip. Here the word loka is significant. They are different lokas, there are different lokas or higher planets scattered all over the sky, both material and spiritual. A person can reach them by dint of his work in the present life, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.25.
Can we go there, Rashmi? Can we go to Bhagavad Gita 9.25? Click on the link.
I am not reading from the link, Prabhuji. I am reading from my book.
Okay, so go take your Bhagavad Gita and go to 9.25. Or someone else can read 9.25.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I'll have to go upstairs to get my Bhagavad Gita.
Okay, what about you, Ben? Are you reading from a book or are you reading from the screen, from the database? Ben, Prabhuji? I know you have to. I can unmute you. Let me try that. Yes, you unmute. Yeah, just speak. You don't need to switch screen.
What is it, 9:25?
9:25. Yanti Deva Vrata Devan. Famous verse.
Yanti Deva Vrata Devan. Pitre Vrata Bhutani Yanti Bhuteja.
No, you're missing a line. Pitrin Yanti. Second line. Can you read that again, Pete?
No, I said that already, but you didn't.
Okay.
You must not have heard it.
Yes.
Bhutani Yanti Bhuteja Yanti Mad Yajino Apimam. You want me to read the purport as well?
Your translation and purport, please.
Translation: those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. And those who worship me will live with me. Report by Divine Grace. If one has any desire to go to the moon, the sun, or any other planet, one can attain the desired destination by following specific Vedic principles recommended for that purpose, such as the process of technically known as Darsha Purnamasa. These are vividly described in the fruitive activities portion of the Vedas, which recommends a specific worship of demigods situated on different heavenly planets. Similarly, one can attain the Pita planets by performing a specific yajna. Similarly, one can go to many ghostly planets and become a yaksha, raksha, pisacha worship is called black arts or black magic. There are many men who practice this black art, and they think that it is spiritualism. But such activities are completely materialistic. Similarly, a pure devotee who worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead only achieves the planets of Vaikuntha and Krishna Loka without a doubt. It is very easy to understand through this important verse that it is simply worshipping the demigods. One can achieve the heavenly planets, or by worshipping the Pitas, achieve the Pita planets, or by practicing the black arts, achieve the ghostly planets. Why can the pure devotees not achieve the planet of Krishna or Vishnu? Unfortunately, many people have no information of these sublime planets where Krishna and Vishnu live, and because they do not know them, they fall down. Even the impersonalists fall down from the Brahma Jyoti. The Krishna consciousness movement is therefore distributing sublime information to the entire human society, to the effect that simply chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one can become perfect in this life and go back home, back to Godhead.
Thank you very much. Yes, it is an important verse. I have a question for you, Ben, or anybody else. What does it mean, worships the demigods? In today's society, are there people who worshipping the demigods today?
Yeah, everybody worshipping demigods.
Yes.
Well,
Give example.
Not everybody, but
Example.
Well, it's like we know, like the prime demigods. You know, in terms of Hinduism, people are worshipping Brahma, Shiva, like that. You know, they're worshipping different goddesses, Ganesh, you know, Sarasvati, like that. You know, they want because they want material. They want material success, and they want to benefit in that way.
What about a very famous occasion, which even sometimes devotees are tempted to go, Durga Puja? What about Durga Puja?
Again, this Durga Puja this is all to be successful material.
Well, really, the question is, should devotees or those who want to progress on the spiritual path, should they go to Durga Puja and Garba dance and all of that? People are very attached to these things. Well, because it's also a social.
I can only say from my understanding of what Prabhupada, his focus is in the Krishna conscious movement. His focus is about Krishna. We are focused on Krishna consciousness. It's the clue is in the clue is in the name. We're into Krishna big time. So anything that diverts us from that is just another form of Maya, really.
That's nicely explained. Thank you very much. And we're running
But
yes?
Prabhuji, you can have we should still be, we are doing Krishna Bhakti, but we should still be respectful of the demigods, because
absolutely.
So they are Durga Devi, for example, is Mahamaya. She's Krishna's energy. And so we should still be respectful for her. But the important thing is that you must respect we must respect the demigods, but our bhakti has to be ananya bhakti. The Sanskrit word is ananya. Ananya means one-pointed. So Krishna is our aradhya. He's our worshipable deity. So our loyalty should be, if you like, loyalty should be towards Krishna. It should be one-pointed. Not that, okay, now we have some distress, so we've gone to another demigod, or we've got health issues, so we then go to another demigod. That should not be the case.
Very nice. And I really like that you mentioned Ananya Bhakti. That's very important. Ananya Bhakti, exclusive devotion. What's that Bhagavad Gita verse? I mean, Rashmi, you have studied Bhagavad Gita.
Ekiha Kurunandana. Ekiha Kurunandana.
Okay.
Yeah, it's. Do you know what the number of the verse is? I think it's in the 4th chapter.
Ananya Bhakti?
Is Ekiha Kurunandana.
No. But that verse, I'm not sure what that was talking about.
Oh, it's talking about the resolution of people who are worshiping Krishna. The aim is one. But
yes.
They go to number of wells. It's like people who go to numerous wells. That I think, Ben, you're talking about that verse, no?
Yeah, similar. Yes.
One-pointed devotion, right?
Krishna makes the point that if you worship all these other things, your intelligence becomes split and many branched.
Yes.
So you can't you don't have the is talking about devotees, they're fixed and their aim is one. but he
Oh,
says,
beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence is many branched of those who, yes.
Yeah, the intelligence of others is many branches because they get diverted by so many other things, so they're not
Yes.
100% focused.
Yes, but there is another verse, sir, because Rashmi mentioned Ananya Bhakti, and that's a very important word, Ananya Bhakti. There is a verse, 9:22, Ananyas chintayanto mam yechana paryupasate tesham nityapi yuktanam yoga kshemam vahamyaham. Exclusive devotion. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. So that is a famous verse talking about Ananya Bhakti. Okay, Rashmi. Of course, we respect all the demigods. There is no question of not respecting, but respecting the demigods doesn't mean we're taking part in Durga Puja, does it?
What is the harm in taking part in Durga Puja or anything like that?
The harm is if we worship Durga, not respecting and worshipping, that's a different story. If we worship Durga Puja, then Krishna says here in that verse, those who worship the demigods will go to the planets of the demigods. That danger is there, isn't it?
But Prabhuji, during Navratri, okay, even in the UK, here in India, of course, it was for 9 days, we are worshipping goddess Durga. I think during the same time, the Durga Puja is also done during the same time, the same 9 days of Navratri.
Yes.
So that is also worshipping.
Yes. Prabhupada never, ever asked devotees to take part in Durga Puja. That is brought in from the outside. If you read through all of Srila Prabhupada's writings, there are the festivals of Gopanim and Dishinga Chaturdasi and Janmashtami, but Durga Puja is not one of them. Respect.
Can I make a point
Yes.
as well
Yes.
about
Please.
that the devotees, if we're engaged in devotional service to the Lord, the devotees, they're not, they don't have any obligation to any demigods anymore. They don't have any debt, any obligation, because when they take shelter and surrender to Krishna, they become free from all that kind of obligation.
That is also mentioned in the Shastra. Now, I would like to ask Amritarade Devi Dasi Mataji, what do you say on that topic of Durga Puja, or what Prabhupada gave us the different festivals? Durga Puja is not one of them.
Prabhuji, my understanding so far is that when we have chosen to, get Krishna Prema, then we will constantly worship Krishna and, follow the instructions of our spiritual guides like Srila Prabhupada. So, even if we go to a Durga temple, we will go to the mother and ask, please bless us with Krishna Prem, because that becomes our only goal when we choose to be a devotee. So with that objective, if you go, then it is fine. And even the gopis worshipped Katyayani Devi, but again, that was for that one and only one goal, that they wanted Krishna as their husband. So this is my understanding.
You say that is a beautiful synthesis. That's a beautiful conclusion. We can go to Navratri and Durga Puja with that aim, what Amrita Radhamataji just said, by asking Durga or Lord Shiva, Vaishnava Nam Yata Shambhu. Lord Shiva is the greatest Vaishnav. So we must respect the greatest Vaishnav, of course. More than that, we can ask Lord Shiva, we can ask Ganesh. We don't worship Ganesh for material aims, but we can ask Ganesh to clear the path, because Ganesh is known of removing obstacles. But that's not what people generally do. They're doing Lakshmi Puja for getting Lakshmi, not for achieving Lord Narayan, or Ganesh for getting also economic development, not for clearing the path, the devotional path of all obstacles. And with that understanding, like Amrita Radhe Mataji has so nicely explained, we can go approach various different demigods for helping us in our Krishna Bhakti. So that is a correct understanding. Anything more to that? We don't want to get too much diverted, but I thought it was important that we don't just, without any thought, participate in festivals which is not meant for Vaishnavas or with material motives, but with pure spiritual motives. Okay, back to the text. Back to Rashmi Mataji.
So I'll just continue from where I stopped.
Yes, please.
No forceful entrance is allowed there. The tiny material scientists and engineers who have discovered vehicles to travel over a few thousand miles in outer space will not be allowed entrance. That is not the way to reach the better planets. One must qualify himself to enter into such happy planets by sacrifice and service. Those who are sinful in every step of life can expect only to be degraded into animal life, to suffer more and more the pangs of material existence. And this is also stated in Bhagavad Gita 16.19. Maharaj Yudhishthir's good sacrifices and qualification were so lofty and virtuous that even the residents of the higher celestial planets were already prepared to receive him as one of them.
Thank you very much, Rashmi. Before, I want to ask you to give some explanation of that purpose, but I would like to go back to that Bhagavad Gita verse 16:19, and I would like Amit, can you read that Bhagavad Gita verse 16:19?
Yes, Bhagavatam. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. You want to read the Sanskrit?
You can just read the translation that we don't get too much diverted. I only taking these texts on because Srila Prabhupada, in the Veda base, there is a link there, and Srila Prabhupada specially mentioned that Bhagavad Gita verse. So I think it is appropriate that we're looking at that verse. Translation. Amit, are you there?
Morning.
No, you're breaking up.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Probably my Wi-Fi is sometimes is changing. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yes.
Yes. Can you hear me?
No, there is some problem. I don't know. Maybe on my side? What about everybody else?
So what about now? Can you hear me?
Yes, better.
Can you hear me?
Yes, a bit with delay. I don't know if it's my side. Nobody else says anything.
What about now?
Yes, much more clearer. You got that text, Amit? Now we don't hear anything. I don't hear anything. Ben, can you hear Amit?
No, Prabhuji, we can't hear.
No,
We
I can't
can't.
hear him now.
Okay,
No.
we cannot hear you, Amit.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
What about now?
yes,
Is that okay?
yes.
Okay. I'm reading it.
Yes.
Okay. In this verse, it is clearly indicated that the placing of a particular individual soul.
No, read the translation first.
Okay, sorry, I did. You might not heard me. Okay.
Oh, no, we haven't heard it. Yes. Okay.
I read it to myself. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Those who are envious and mischievous and who are the lowest among men are perpetually cast into the ocean of the material existence, into various demonic species of life. In this verse, it is clearly indicated that the placing of a particular individual soul in a particular body is the prerogative of the supreme will. The demonic person may not agree to accept the supremacy of the Lord, and it is a fact that he may act according to his own whims, but his next birth will depend upon the decision of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and not on himself. In Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, third canto, it is stated that an individual soul, after his death, is put into the womb of a mother whom he gets a particular type of body under the supervision of superior power. Therefore, in the material existence, we find many species of life, animals, insects, men, and so on. All are arranged by the superior power. They are not accidental. As for the demonic, it is clearly said here that they are perpetually put in the wombs of demons, and thus they continue to be envious and the lowest of mankind. Such demonic species of men are held to be always full of lust, always violent, and always hateful, and always unclean. The many kinds of hunters in the jungle are considered to belong to the demonic species of life.
Thank you, Amit. Hare Krishna. Okay, that is not a very nice future for the demonic species of again and again and again cast into demonic species of life. So, Rashmi Mataji, can you give us a gist of this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam purport?
Prabhuji, I don't know there's what to say. There's not much to say, but I just found two things. One is that Maharaj Parikshit in the purport, Prabhupada says, he was well known all over the world. So this just tells us that we are not only talking about Bharatvarsh, we are talking about the entire world at the time, Jambudvip. So Prabhupada often tells us about Jambudvip. And then Bharatvarsh or Bharat is only a small part. But Maharaj Yudhishthir was emperor of every whole Jambudvip. That just caught my eye, so I mentioned it.
Okay, what is Bharatvarsh? Not Bharat today, not India today. What is Bharatvarsh at the time of Maharaj Yudhishthir?
I don't know. I thought Bharatvarsh was what we call India today, and Jambudvip is the whole.
Yeah. But what about 5,000 years ago?
Oh, no clue. No idea.
The entire world, the entire planet. We can hardly imagine that. Because now there's so many countries, look at the United Nations, so many flags, and always a new country will become independent. Maybe Scotland will become independent, maybe Ireland, who knows? So many. But 5,000 years ago, the whole planet was under one flag, so to speak. People cannot understand that. They think that's fairy tale. No, it's not fairy tale, it's history. The whole planet was under the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthir, the whole planet Earth. That is the original Bharatvarsh. Today, Bharat is just India. What is Jambudvip then? Rashmi, you mentioned Jambudvip. What is it?
The full world.
The what?
Isn't it that Jambudvip was 8? Was it Jambudvip is the whole world, and there was 8 islands, and one of them is Bharat. I'm confused. Maybe I've read it a very long time ago.
Anyone? What is Jambudvip?
Is it this air planet?
Air planet?
Isn't it this air planet, Jambudvip?
What do you mean air planet?
I don't mean air planet. I said Earth. It's this
Earth planet.
we're
Oh,
on.
right. Oh.
It's
Earth
the planet
planet.
we're on inhabiting now.
Yeah.
That's Jambudvip. There's another name for this planet is Bhuloka as well, isn't it?
Bhuloka is the middle planetary systems. Yes, for sure.
Because it's like Bhumi Loka, isn't it?
Here is a reference. The Pandavas, the strength of his brother Bhima, Arjuna, and the solid sovereign power over the world known as Jambudvipa. So, the Earth planet is divided into 7 dweeps by 7 oceans, and the central dweep called Jambudvip is divided into 9 varshas or parts by 8 huge mountains. Bharatvarsha is one of the above mentioned 9 varshas, and Ketumala, and so on. These are very technical descriptions. So, yes, it appears like Jambudvip refers to the Earth planet. We leave it as that. There could be much more said, and there are lots of technical details available. And if you ever go to Mayapur and see the planetarium, then that is all highlighted, the whole Vedic cosmos with Jambudvip and all others.
Prabhupada did say in the purport, over the world is known as Jambudvip. So this world is known as Jambudvip.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Anything else to be said? Rashmi, you want to say anything more?
No, Prabhuji, it's quite self-explanatory that Maharaj Yudhishthira did such pious work, such great work, that even the demigods, even the residents of the heavenly planets, they also learnt about it, and even they became interested in what he was doing.
Yes, that's amazing. That Maharaj Yudhishthira was famous even in the heavenly planets. That's most amazing. These little political leaders nowadays, whoever they are, their fame is not going to the heavenly planets. Okay, let's do one more verse. 1:12:6. Who wants to do? Who wants to do 1:12:6? Volunteers? Nobody? Yes, I thought of you. You're too late. Amrita Mataji was already doing her microphone, so I will give it to her.
Okay, thank you. Kim te kama surasparaha mukunda manaso dvija adhijahrur mudam rajna shuditasya yathetare. Translation. O Brahmanas, the opulence of the king was so enchanting that the denizens of heaven aspired for it. But because he was absorbed in the service of the Lord, nothing could satisfy him except the Lord's service. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. There are two things in the world which can satisfy living beings when one is materially engrossed. He is satisfied only by sense gratification. But when one is liberated from the conditions of the material modes, he is satisfied only by rendering loving service for the satisfaction of the Lord. This means that the living being is constitutionally a servitor and not one who is served. Being illusioned by the conditions of the external energy, one falsely thinks himself to be the served. But actually, he is not served. He is servant of the senses like lust, desire, anger, avarice, pride, madness, and intolerance. When one is in his proper senses, by attainment of spiritual knowledge, he realizes that he is not the master of the material world, but is only a servant of the senses. At that time, he begs for the service of the Lord and thus becomes happy without being illusioned by so-called material happiness. Maharaj Yudhishthir was one of the liberated souls, and therefore for him, there was no pleasure in a vast kingdom, good wife, obedient brothers, happy subjects, and prosperous world. These blessings automatically follow for a pure devotee, even though the devotee does not aspire for them. The example set herein is exactly suitable. It is said that one who is hungry is never satisfied by anything other than food. The whole material world is full of hungry living beings. The hunger is not for good food, shelter, or sense gratification. The hunger is for the spiritual atmosphere. Due to ignorance only, they think that the world is dissatisfied because there is not sufficient food, shelter, defense, and objects of sense gratification. This is called illusion. When the living being is hungry for spiritual satisfaction, he is misrepresented by material hunger. But the foolish leaders cannot see that even the people who are most sumptuously materially satisfied are still hungry. And what is their hunger and poverty? Am I going correct? This hunger is actually for spiritual food, spiritual shelter, spiritual defense, and spiritual sense gratification. These can be obtained in association of the Supreme Spirit, Lord Shri Krishna, and therefore one who has them cannot be attracted by the so-called food, shelter, defense, and sense gratification of the material world, even if they are relished by the denizens of the heavenly planets. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita 8.16, it is said by the Lord that even in the topmost planet of the universe, namely the Brahmaloka, where the duration of life is multiplied by millions of years by earth calculation, one cannot satisfy his hunger. Such hunger can be satisfied only when the living being is situated in immortality, which is attained in the spiritual sky, far, far above the Brahmaloka, in the association of Lord Mukunda, the Lord who awards his devotees the transcendental pleasure of liberation.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Amrita Radhe Mataji. Can you say a few words? Summarize or pick a point to talk about.
It's a very deep purport wherein Prabhupada talks about satisfaction of the soul, something that we are all looking for. And he mentions that those who are materially engrossed, they find it in sense gratification, buying a bigger house, getting a fancier car. So they are satisfied in these pursuits. And however, there are others who are most satisfied by serving the Supreme Lord. Now, later in the purport, Srila Prabhupada points out that it's the second satisfaction, which is actually meaning the satisfaction of serving the Lord or devotional service, which is lasting and which actually satisfies compared to, sense gratification on a material level. That is, there are many points, of course, and we can go over this purport for many classes, but this is one primary one.
Beautiful, beautiful points. Thank you very much. And very important points. Anyone has a question or wants to add something? What about you, Ben? You came just a split second after Mataji, so why don't you say something more about this beautiful purport, if there's anything more to be said? Is there anything more, Ben? I spoke just recently with Rashmi Mataji. She was independent of that verse and that purpose. She was saying the same thing, that people are so much after economic development and a bigger house and just only materially improving themselves. But nobody is trying to improve themselves spiritually. And that is very sad to see. Huh? And the devotees actually feeling that pain of living entities. They don't feel it themselves, really. They do deep down. But they're not aware consciously that they're dissatisfied. They know they're dissatisfied, and they're trying with various schemes and various ways. They think they're dissatisfied, so I need a bigger house. When the house is bigger and they have built some annex on it, and still they're dissatisfied. And then they think, we need a bigger car, and so on. Ben, yes.
Yeah, I think what Prabhupada is saying that this situation arises because people are in ignorance. They feel dissatisfied because there's insufficient food or shelter or defense. Prabhupada said this is like a illusion. It's like they've got because they're in ignorance, their value system is what they value is the opposite from spiritual life. So they're pursuing different goals to achieve material happiness under the illusion. So ultimately, they're never going to be satisfied and never going to be truly happy unless they can somehow come into contact with Krishna consciousness and learn about the spiritual life, about the spirituality.
There's a verse, what you said, they have a different value system. And you know that verse, Ben. What is night for all beings is a time of awakening for the self-control. And the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. That is exactly explaining what you just said. That devotees are not interested in this value system, what a materialistic person has, and the materialistic person is not interested in a spiritual value system. But practically, people know they're dissatisfied. If we are dissatisfied, we know. Everybody instinctively deep inside, we know we are not satisfied. But people think it's because of the political system, because a political party, because the government does something wrong, because of I don't have enough money, because of my wife, because my husband, the neighbors, the country, the European Union, endlessly. They find an excuse, they think, they find out why they're dissatisfied. But even if these problems are all solved, they're still dissatisfied because they don't understand that deep dissatisfaction is actually the lack of their spiritual understanding and Krishna consciousness. And as soon as someone becomes even a little bit Krishna conscious, then he's satisfied with the same house, with the same circumstances, the same political party is in charge, and so on. Whether before they thought this was the reason, now the real reason is that we are not engaged in the pure service to Lord Krishna, in Krishna consciousness. That is a real reason. As soon, and Srila Prabhupada gave that example many times, it's all zeros. But as soon as we put a 1 in front of the zeros, Krishna, then all the zeros have tremendous value. Without the 1 in front, 1,000,000 without the 1 in front is 0. But as soon as we have 6 zeros and you put a 1 in front, then it becomes 1,000,000. That 1 is Krishna in everything, everywhere, at all times. It's such a simple science. It just needs a mental adjustment. Okay. Thank you, Ben. Anything else? Particular to this verse, anything else?
Prabhuji, you said that even if we like little bit, even if we become little bit Krishna conscious, we become satisfied. But if we become only little bit Krishna conscious, then that satisfaction also remains kind of a little bit temporary. Again, we start hankering for material things. So what I have understood so far is that Krishna consciousness should be practiced with great intensity. I mean, we should try to it as we grow older and
with great intensity, with great enthusiasm, we must practice this Krishna consciousness. Absolutely right. Spot on. Every living entity has enthusiasm, right? Without enthusiasm or utsaha, very important, utsaha. If we don't have that spiritual enthusiasm, so we have the Sangha and the association of devotees, we should associate with devotees who have that spiritual enthusiasm, because that is contagious. How contagious was Srila Prabhupada? His spiritual enthusiasm was so contagious. In every corner of the world, people just flocked towards him. They wanted to serve him in whichever way, because he had so much spiritual enthusiasm and energy. So enthusiasm is a symptom of life. Without enthusiasm, we are a dead stone. And sometimes we feel like that. We feel like the enthusiasm has disappeared. There are various reasons if our spiritual enthusiasm has dried up. Offenses or this or that. There are reasons for it. Can be analyzed. It's not so difficult to see. And how to get it back. Because it seems to come and go and come and go, and we don't have so much control over it. But people in general have enthusiasm for material development, economic development, like we said before, bigger house, bigger car, bigger, this. That's the same enthusiasm, but it's material enthusiasm that has no lasting result. That same enthusiasm, if we are putting Krishna in the center, it becomes spiritual enthusiasm. That same enthusiasm, we want a bigger house, a bigger car, bigger this, bigger that, we want to make more advancement. Samir Prabhu, I have to mention his good name again and again and again. He had so much enthusiasm. So that enthusiasm he had. If he had nothing else, but this enthusiasm he had. When we proposed, maybe we should from twice a week meetings go to once a week meetings. He said, no. I wanted to ask you, can we have more than twice? That is spiritual enthusiasm. And if we struggle even with once a week or twice a week, and it may be out of lack of spiritual enthusiasm, then we should understand if devotees are there, we can get that spiritual enthusiasm from the association of devotees. So nice comment. Very nice. So we're running towards 9 o'clock. Is there any other question? If not, we're going to a short quiz. Some of the points have been discussed, and some questions drawing from the purport of what we just have read, and there are some general questions also. So it is all ready. I would like to ask everybody to put their microphone on, please, but keep the background noise to a minimum. Put your microphones on, so we have a two-way conversation throughout.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Prabhuji, I'm not joining the quiz. I'll just listen to y'all because I'm running very late. I have not cooked.
Oh. Are we invited? Are we invited?
Yes, Prabhuji, you can come.
I would love to come over and we have a nice dinner. What are you cooking?
Rashmi, is it a cake you're cooking? Because I know it was your birthday on the 16th January and we missed it. So you owe us a feast and a cake.
You have to make the cake for me, not I have to make the cake for you.
Hare Krishna. Okay, Vaishnava Mataji, you got your service.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Okay. Microphones on. Microphones on. And here we go. All ready. 4, 3, 2, 6, 1, 7. We are missing you, Rashmi Mataji. It's really Kishori. How nice you wrote that. So we have 4 players: Kishori, Amrita Radhe Mataji, RDD, and Amit and Ben. Okay, let's start off straight away. Ready? There are a mixed kind of questions. There are some multiple select. It says here on the slide when you can select more than one answer. And the normal quiz and true and false. 3 types of questions. Ready, steady, go.
Excuse me.
How do I say false?
Oh, what question is that? Who said patriotism is good? Oh, Vaishnava, did you say that?
I didn't understand it, to be honest.
Hare Krishna. That's not we're not Indians, we're not Germans, we're not English. We're not. As pointed out by Rashmi Mataji some time back, yes, army, let's say Indian army, English army, we should be grateful if they defending our country. But patriotism of all the isms, Krishnaism, that's what we call. Okay, let's go on. Quiz. Double points. We had that question before. I would expect everybody to get that right. What is another nivritti, the clearing stage? Association of devotees? No, that's not. Association of devotees is Sadhu Sangha. Anatta nivritti is a later stage. After Bhajana Kriya, right? It goes like Shraddha, faith. And then the next, we have a bit of faith, we're seeking out the association of devotees, like on every Wednesday and Saturday. This is the association of devotees. Or if we have some other association somewhere else, that is the same thing. So after association, it comes bhajana kriya, engaging in devotional service, chanting a fixed number of rounds and so on. And after bhajana kriya, then it starts anartha vritti, clearing the dirty things in the heart. The dirty things will not clear if we don't engage in devotional service. The foremost engagement in devotional service is chanting Hare Krishna. 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds, 8, 11, 16. That's a different question. Next. Quiz. We had said before, I was just confirming, what's the goal of life? The ultimate goal of life. Not to take birth again. Who said that? Don't say Vaishnava Maharishi, you said not to take birth again.
No.
No, because last time you fell into that trap, which is a goal of life, but it's not the ultimate. I made sure I put that ultimate in the question. It's nice not to take birth again. That means liberation. To go to the planet of the Lord, to go to Vaikuntha or Goloka, perfectly all right. But the ultimate goal of life is to love Krishna. And then all other things are achieved automatically. So that is for the pure devotees, of course. Next. Ben, you had a winning streak, 3 right in a row. It's another quiz. We had said 2, nothing new. Don't get that wrong, please. How to avoid bad karma. There are various options here. There's only one answer right. Yes, surrender to Krishna. This question will never ever come in any quiz because everybody got it. Praying is nice, it's a pious activity and leads us to one of the important vandanam, limbs of bhakti also. Performing pious act is nice, yagyas, yes, but surrender to Krishna is the only way to avoid bad karma, because only Krishna can wipe out our bad karma. Next. Who is the spiritual master of Bhaktivinoda Thakur? We had said on Wednesday, but we should know anyway. The picture to the right of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We don't have that at the Hare Krishna Center, but other temples have it. Yes, Jagannath Das Babaji. Someone said Rupa Goswami. Who said Rupa Goswami? Amit? Was it you, Amit?
Yeah, sorry, I pressed the wrong button.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Oh, the finger slipped. Hare Bol.
Yes.
Okay, we accept that. Next. And we had, on Wednesday, we had nice explains the story of Jagannath Das Babaji when Bhaktivinoda Thakur discovered the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How did he discover it? He saw in the far distance, he saw some shine when he was on his balcony, some effulgence came, and he was wondering, what's that? He was actively looking of discovering the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because it had been lost. Some people said it's on the Navadvip side, on the other side of the Ganga, and others said no, it's on this side. Because 500 years had passed, and the Ganges has, every year the Ganges changes course. Every year. So the Ganges is moving. So nobody knew after 500 years where was the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he saw, he consulted all maps. He did really a historical research, like a research scholar would do today. So he did with whatever was available. It was hard copies of maps and old forgotten maps, and he trying to find. So one night he's standing on the balcony and saw that effulgence in the far distance on the eastern side or some side. So the next day he went there and he asked the villagers, and they said, yes, there is a place, it's full of these tulsi plants. And there is some ghosts there. We always hear these sounds, and there were all Muslim people around that area. And they were kind of scared of that place. Nobody lived there. It was just a space with tulsi grown all over, and the villagers said it's ghostly hunted. So then Bhaktivinoda, he thought that is the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He had finally, after long search, he had found it. But to confirm, like anything bigger, we need to confirm with our spiritual master. So he went to Chaitanya Babaji Maharaj and told him about it. And he was so old, he was over 100 years old. He had to be carried in a basket because he was weak and old. And his eyelids, if he wanted to see, some servant had to manually open his eyelids that he could see her, because he had not the power of opening his own eyelids anymore due to that really advanced age. So they carried him to that place. And when he came to that place, over 100-year-old Chaitanya Babaji, he jumped out of the basket and chanted, Gaura Hari, Hari Bol. And that was confirmation. This is the birthplace of Mahaprabhu. And today we have a Gaudiya Math temple there, the birthplace of Mahaprabhu, very close by to our ISKCON Mandir in Mayapur. Very just some hundreds of meters down the road. And devotees always going there and always taking darshan. That is Jagannath Das Babaji. Next, quiz. Multi-select. More than one answer are right. Famous verse, 223. The soul can never be. Let's see what you're doing with that. Who said slain in battle? Amit, was that you?
No, I think
No.
I did it. Sorry,
It was you, Mataji, Hare Krishna. That sounds quite logical. Not being slain in battle, huh? Because it was on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. But the verse says the soul cannot be moistened by water, not burnt by fire, not cut into pieces, nor withered by the wind. That is a verse explaining her. Look it up, 223. Next.
Sure.
Hare Krishna. Oh, you moved down one position. By that one wrong question, Ben moved ahead of you. Hare Krishna. You will catch up. Next, true or false? We spoke about that too. I would expect everybody gets that right from last Saturday. Who said it's true? Amit. Yes, because you went there last Saturday. Hare Krishna. No, the Bhagavatam is a historical account, but it's not in chronological order. It is in thematic order, so to speak. I didn't say that last time, but I thought about it. It's in thematic order. The storyline is more important. In our Western countries' chronology, 1 year, and 1745, 1750, and 80, and 1800. That is important. The Bhagavatam is just a chronological order is not important at all. But how is a thematical order of the events? Sometimes the Bhagavatam speaks of some event from a different creation. The two Varaha avatar accounts from two different creations. So what we can learn of that's important, not arbitrary chronological account. Okay, here we go. Quiz. We had that today, we read it, Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Yonishu Kaunteya. What does it mean? Sarvayonishu Kanteya Murtaya. Krishna is a seed-giving Father. That is from today's session, when we clicked on the link Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is in full opulences? No. He is in full opulences, but that's not what Sarvayonishu Kaunteya means. Next. Quiz. Bracha, also from today, refers to Bracha. We spoke extensively on it. It's just reinforcing what we have heard today, really. Bracha, Prachapati, Bracha.
Oh dear.
Yes. Oh dear, all human beings? No, Vashana Mataji. We make that point, and Srila Prabhupada makes that point. It's not only, Maharaj Yudhishthira was not only concerned about all human beings. Bracha refers to all who take birth, animals included, everyone included. Oh dear, Hare Krishna. I don't think you will get that wrong again, ever. True or false? That's a tricky question. There's a misconception often. Or not. By serving mankind, we are serving God. Who said it's true? Amit.
I made a mistake.
The finger slipped. Right, okay.
Yes.
By serving mankind, we're serving God. We read today, by watering the root of the tree. All other leaves are watered. By serving the leaves exclusively, we may water the leaves and the root of the tree, which is okay. But by watering the leaves, that is not okay. We're not serving all the leaves. That doesn't make sense. So that is important because yes.
Haribol, I heard one class today in that it was said that if devotees are watering the roots of the tree, but they are then disrespecting the demigods, then it's like watering the roots of the tree, but then putting fire on top of the plant. Did you get
Say it again?
So I heard a class today where it was explained that the same concept, that Ananya Bhakti and respect to the demigods, etc. Okay. And it said that when devotees are not being disrespectful towards other demigods, then what they're doing is they're, on one hand, they are watering the roots of the tree. That means they are serving Krishna, but they're putting fire on top. So they're
beautiful
burning
example.
The plant.
Beautiful example. And that is exactly what it is. If we disrespectful devotees, the demigods are devotees, we should never forget. The demigods are devotees of the Lord, in charge of various cosmological affairs. So if we disrespect the demigods, if we disrespect the devotees, I know that is going on. We're serving Krishna, Hare Krishna, chanting nice rounds, but then we quarrel with devotees. But that is only happening in the Kanishta stage. Kanishta Adhikaris are called materialistic devotees. They're actually not even devotees, but they're classed as devotees because they're just on the edge of bhakti. So that is a very poor understanding that we're serving only the deity in the temple, and when we come out of the temple, we're quarreling with devotees. That is a Kanishta devotee, a materialistic devotee. And that is exactly like watering the plant and putting fire on top. And our progress will be very slow, if at all. So we have to get away from this Kanishta mentality and seeing Krishna in the heart of every single devotee, and not only of every devotee, of every living entity, but first of all, of every devotee. We should serve the devotees, and we say, Prabhu, Prabhu, but Prabhu, can you serve me? It doesn't make sense. If someone is Prabhu, then we serve them. then we treat them. We say so easily, we say, oh, Prabhu. The Prabhu means master. So if we really mean it, that as a devotee is Prabhu, is master, then we have all respect and we serve that master as a menial servant, and not, oh, you didn't acknowledge me, you didn't recognize me, you didn't praise me, you didn't. No. Very nice example, Rashmi Mataji, thank you. Let's not put fire on top of the plant and watering the root, the plant will burn. And that plant is our bhakti, lata, our kripa of devotional service. Hare Krishna. This question, in Western thinking and atheistic thinking, sometimes people say, oh, I don't need God. I'm a humanitarian. I serve mankind and automatically I serve in God. That's not true. Neither is it true in the Bible. Even the Christian Bible, and these are Christians are saying, no, by serving mankind, by feeding people, we're serving God. That's a very widespread conception here. But even in the Bible says the first law is worship God with all your heart, and the second is treat your neighbor as you would treat yourself. The second, so first God, and then everybody else. Not everybody else, and automatically we're serving God. No, we're not. We're serving God, and automatically we understand a little bit about Krishna. Immediately, the first thing we serving Krishna, the first thing we understand, every living entity is braja. Every living entity is part and parcel of the Lord. They're all my brothers and sisters. So I must respect and serve everyone. That comes, God realization, immediately it comes the realization of being kind to all other living entities, including animals. True or false? But that's straightforward, isn't it? Yes, I would not have expected any true. Yes, we spoke about that. Next, true or false? That's an important one. We had said before, but it has a lot of implications. It is true, and everybody got that right. And we should offer our food to Krishna, otherwise we get karma. Eating sin means getting karma, and karma means we'll have to suffer. And certain food cannot be offered to Krishna. So that verse is actually forcing us to only offer Krishna what Krishna is accepting, and offer, and it's not that we offer Krishna nice food stuff and then in between we eating something without offering because we are attached to the taste. That is not the idea. We have to come to the point of only eating Krishna prasadam. And that's very, very purifying and helps us in our spiritual progress tremendously. True or false? Well, that is straightforward. Shouldn't be a problem. But immediately the answer came. True. We don't want to go to the planet of the... We can go. We are free. If we want to go to the planets, we can go. We can go to the ghostly planets, wherever. But if we want to go to Krishna Loka, we can also go. What is the meaning of the verse? Brahma Bhuvana Loka. We have covered that verse. That was a link in the Bhagavatam text. That's a bit tricky one. Oh, we got only one got that. From the highest to the lowest planet are places of misery. Remember that verse?
No.
Uvanal. Let's bring that up. Bhuvanal. Abrahma Bhuvanalo Kapuna Avartinorchuna Mam Upetya to Kaundaya Punachanmana Vidyate. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. So that's the meaning of the verse. Not Brahma Loka, that is, yes, the word Brahma is, yes, I can understand why that has gone wrong. Next. True or false? Interesting question. There are lots of people who said it's false. The yogis have to take birth again. If said don't come to the platform of Bhakti Yoga, yoga is like a yoga ladder. Was that you, Amit?
Yes, Prabhu. I didn't really understand the question.
All kinds of yogis have to reach Bhakti Yoga to not take birth again. So basically,
sorry, I understand it.
Yoga is like a yoga ladder. There's Karma Yoga, there's Jnana Yoga, there's Hatha Yoga, there's Sis Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. But the top rung of the ladder is Bhakti Yoga. And if someone is practicing yoga on a particular platform, let's say a Hatha Yogi, breathing exercise and all that, that's okay. And if he stays on that step of the yoga ladder, then he's known as a Hatha Yogi. If he stays on another ladder, on another rung of the ladder, he's known as the Ashtanga Yogi. But the yoga ladder is meant to climbing higher, higher, higher up. And the top rung of the ladder is Bhakti Yoga. So if we don't come to that rung of the ladder, if the yogi doesn't progress, it's progressive. If the yogi doesn't progress to Bhakti Yoga, he has to take another birth again. And then try again, and again, and again, and again. So yoga alone, any of the yogas, will not guarantee not taking birth again. Only Bhakti Yoga will guarantee that. Devotional service, pure devotional service. That's a poll, the last. What's the most amazing thing in this world? I will check that. Everybody says you know. Okay, let's check that. What, Amrita Radhimataji, what is the most amazing thing in this world?
I will repeat the answer given by Yudhishthir Maharaj to that Yaksha, that even though everyone is saying that everyone in this world is going to die, but still we think, I will survive, I will never die.
Yes, that is, you know it very well. Everybody else knew it that well?
Yes, I thought when I saw the picture, I thought, well, it's definitely birth and death. Definitely.
Yes, that picture. I should have put a misleading picture, perhaps. Okay, let's head back. That's a very, we are out of time.
I actually thought it was something different from that.
Say again?
I thought when you said what is the most amazing thing in this world, I was thinking it's Krishna.
Yes, which is nice. Which is nice. Huh? I should have put in the question Yudhishthir in brackets or something like that. That would have been, it's not so easy to formulate the question that it's really clear for everyone. Okay, can we all head back to Zoom now? Back to Zoom. Put your hand up if you are back in Zoom. Just put the hand up. Amit is back, or thumbs up. Yes. Varshana, you're not back. Yes, if you put your hands up, the hand will stay up. Thumbs up, the thumb will go away. We're waiting for Vaishana.
What happens with that kind of question? Is that a question? Do you get a score for that one?
No, it's a poll. There is no score for that one. No, a poll has no score. A poll is just. It could be used in that way as we used it. I'm sure it can be used in other ways. Vaishana, are you back? Where are you, Vaishana Mataji?
Safe driving mode. I don't know where is this.
Are you back in Zoom?
Yeah, I'm trying to get back.
Are you back in the room, Vaishana?
Ben Pope is speaking. Yes, I am.
You are, okay. Okay, everybody's here, so let's go next. Let's go to the podium.
1, 2, 3, back in the room.
Hare Krishna.
Who's
Ishori. Who is there on top? Ooh, Ben, you are on top, huh? Hare Krishna. The golden buzzer. Okay, very nice. That was it for tonight. And we stop that screen share. And we quit Kahoo as well. And we are back in Zoom. Okay, did you like that?
Yes.
Any last questions or comments or something to share? Rashmi, are you still with us? You have anything to share? Or you're just cooking right now?
Prabhuji, I'm there, but I have nothing to share. I wanted to ask Vaishno Mataji, Prabhuji, she started Food for Life again? Because somebody was asking me.
Well, not yet, but I just cook anytime. I just wait till the weather gets a bit warmer, Mataji. But if there is somebody who requires any food, do let me know.
It's not so easy to do the Food for Life anymore, is it?
Not at all.
Because you have to be very conscious about the ingredients and you have to label it and all this kind of stuff. You can't just willy-nilly distribute food to anyone and everyone.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually then for the private companies and the special homes. But on the streets, I'm sure they still appreciate it because at the moment, you're seeing people going through the trash cans to find food. So it's nice, I have in 1 or 2 occasions just taken food and asked them and told them, look, there's no nuts or no nothing.
No, I mean, I know at Granby Street, they do tell people what's in the prasad,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like just these big organizations that we can't take it to.
The people have different allergies and different things that they can't eat.
Okay,
thank you very much.
Yeah.
Food for Life.
I have something to share. Yeah. So today we were doing a demonstration or protesting in Leicester City Centre. We were just making people aware of vivisection, the testing of using animals in laboratories, and there were National Laboratory Day, so we can use alternatives. It's proven that that using the testing of animals, about 80% of the medicine that's tested on animals don't really have the right effect, and our bodies are different to them, so it's not been useful. So we were there just demoing and just to make people aware. There's alternatives, if they use computers and other methods, artificial better methods, but because of the money, they don't do it. They use animals because they're easily indispensable.
Cheapest, huh? Cheapest.
Yeah.
Yes, what is it? Was it in Leicester, Amit? In Leicester?
In the city centre, yeah.
Very nice. Thank you very much for that.
It's to raise awareness. It's to open up people's consciousness. So once you open up once you open their consciousness in one direction, the consciousness then starts developing. in a
Yes,
different
it
way.
hopefully will open in all directions, sir. Yes, absolutely.
There was lots of anti-vax people in town.
Yeah, I saw
Is
that.
it?
Did you see that, Ben, as well? Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy people. They're crazy people. We were the righteous people.
Hare
And then
Krishna.
you had the singer, Jesus singer as well, so maybe
Oh, it sounds like pretty busy.
he was busy. I felt sorry for anybody going past the clock tower, because first they had well, he wasn't sorry, but I mean, first they had to see the Jesus guy singing the songs. Then they saw the anti-vaxxers on the other side of the clock tower, and then on the other side of the clock tower was talking about vivisection. So your consciousness
Hare
was
Krishna.
really lifted as you walk past clock
Oh,
tower today.
and the devotees were there, the Hare Krishnas were there as well?
I didn't see them today. No, sometimes you
Okay.
hear them, but I didn't see them. I don't know if they came later, but I'm sure they would have come later.
Okay, I would like to ask, we're running late, I would like to ask, Rashmi, are you still here? Rashmi, can you hear us?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hari Bol, I'm here.
So I would like to ask everybody to send something, a heart or whatever to Rashmi for her birthday, which was just last week. Happy birthday to you, Hare Krishna to you, Hare Krishna to Rashmi Mataji, Hare Krishna to you. May you never take birth again. 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 Haribo!
Speech.
Hare Krishna.
Speech.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
That's the least we can do. And if you can make a birthday cake and send it over, then that will be also appreciated. Hare Krishna. Here we tonight.
Hopefully in summer, Prabhuji.
Okay. Yes.
Poor Rashmi has to make the birthday cake for herself and give to us. That's what.
Yeah, well, the
That-
Vaishnav devotees do everything differently.
Actually, the Western system is you get presents on your birthday. The Indian system is you give presents on your birthday.
Oh,
Yes, I'm right or wrong?
correct, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
So here we are. Thank you very much. See you on Wednesday, midweek. Wednesday. WED. Wednesday. Right? That would be nice. Association. That is full association. Take full advantage of the association as long as it is there. If I'm leaving these bodies, then the association will be gone. So let's take advantage now. Hare Krishna. See you on Wednesday.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.